Welcome to How to Transform the Stress and Anxiety of Graduating from College into Confident Steps Forward. I'm Patty Jackson. I'm the owner of Clear Inner Focus Education and Coaching. And I used to be a school teacher, and I had 4 kids that are now, the youngest are 25, they're twins. So I've had a lot of fun listening and watching the transition of what happens both for parents and for kids, and for young adults getting into the workforce and everything that goes on in between. And my other passion is really to help people understand what's going on inside of them and how you can use the 4 things you can control to feel a little better about life so that you could be a positive contagion in the world and you can enjoy your life unfolding in the direction you want it to go. Sound good? So today, what I'd like to cover is I'm going to talk a little bit about the mechanics behind stress and anxiety. And then I'm going to talk about the 4 things that you absolutely can control. And I think that you need to be aware of these and be controlling them whenever the going gets rough. And then I'm going to show you a quick tool on when you get really confused and stuff, how you can use those 4 things to go from anxiety and stress and that inner conflict to at least clear and grounded within yourself and knowing what you at least want to move towards next. Because from that clarity, divine providence moves in. There's a great poem by Goethe that says, once you make a commitment, then divine providence moves in. And so whatever that means to you, what I know that it means to me is if I can get my confusion out of my mind, if I can get my stress out of my mind, if I can get clear on what I want, now becomes better. And then I can see the opportunities. And when I respond to the opportunities, I'm going to be way more powerful. I'm going to be way more engaging. And I'm going to be able to go to bed at night and sleep. So if tomorrow I need to do it again and do it better, I can sleep better and wake up more confident. Sound good? I see in the chats too that we have another person here from UW-Madison and is a senior and so about to graduate, scary and exciting. Yes. And we have another one here that is a social worker case manager at Salt River Indian Community Fatherhood Program in Scottsdale, Arizona. Wow. A graduate of Arizona State University. Sounds like a job that probably has a lot of things to deal with in a great way. I typically work with people who are achievers and they're passionate. High achieving, passionate people know that our focus is powerful. We also know that we're here to make an impact in the world. And sometimes that passion and that enthusiasm can tip to anxiety and confusion. And that's just a byproduct of being really passionate and a good focuser and knowing how to achieve things. So that being said, I've been a life coach for 20 years. I've trained hundreds of coaches. I have a coaching program online that's a do-it-yourself program that takes all of the things that we're learning here and kind of breaks it down and expands it more. And what I like the most is when people work with us for a while, they start to really turn on a good self-coaching mechanism within themselves. Like when the going gets rough, all right, and there's a great self-talk that calms down, gets clear, and moves forward. So that would be part of what I'd like to share with you today on how you can get that started. Is there anything else that you'd love to get out of this time together that we have here? What made you interrupt your whole life and say, I'm going to try carving out some time to listen to this person to see if they can help me learn something helpful? So I'd like you to do is just take a nice deep breath and ask yourself, wow, if this was the best webinar ever, what would I like to experience differently because of this? And gently breathe and just ponder that question. You might have an answer right away, or you might not. But just ponder the question and notice how that feels inside your body. Stressful or peaceful? What do I want? What would this be the best thing? And if you come up with something, I invite you to share it in the chats or aloud. Or you might just want to treasure it and let it be yours. You might want to write it down on a piece of paper. Did anyone notice what happens inside when you just take a breath and start asking yourself, what would I like to get out of this? Did you notice anything going on inside on a feeling level? For me, I could feel my energy starting to get buzzy inside, like moving. Maybe you didn't notice, maybe you did. But that's part of what's important, is to ask yourself powerful questions. What do I want? Here's the problem, back and forth, I don't want this, and I don't want this, and I don't want this. Wait, what is it I really want? Without having to figure out how to get there yet. Powerful tool. So we started it, we're underway. The mechanics behind stress. I'm going to share my screen here. Stress is when you're standing here at the top of your goal and you've got all kinds of different goals in front of you. And you're thinking the thoughts, I can't, I'm not, I don't know, and I don't have. A lot of times in there, you also might be thinking, I don't want, or scary what ifs, and what if. Stress simply means there's a gap between where you are and where you want to be. That's all it means. Stress is overwhelming and it can turn into anxiety when we start focusing more on the I can't, I'm not, I don't know, I don't have. And you know you want to get here, but you don't even know what is over here in the goals. I know I got to make money, but I don't know what that is. I don't know what it. So when you're in the gap between where you are and where you want to be, and you go back and forth between I want to go there and I'm not here yet, back and forth, and you're focused there too long, stress is going to build. Stress is good stress when you're there and in this position. Your thoughts are in line with your heart and soul's desires. You're clear on what you'd like it to be. And you're focused right now in front of you. I am, I can, I know, I have. You're focused on those thoughts. You're focused on I want. And your thoughts are focused more on a magical what if instead of a scary what if. And we all live in between these two things on our goals a lot. So the best way to go from overwhelming stress to good stress is to get clearer on what your goals are and just get that blueprint built in front of you. Now you're graduating from college and there's a lot of I don't know in there, right? Like I want a job and I want it to be good, but I don't know where it will be. I don't know what city I want to live in. I don't know if I have a significant other that will be going on with me. And if you get too far down the I don't knows, stress and anxiety are going to build because your emotions are saying, get your focus back on what matters right here in front of you. I want a job. I don't know where it's going to be, but I do know I'll figure it out. By flipping your focus just like that, you can start to balance the unknowns with some grounded thoughts that will help you stay here now and take care of the things right in front of you so you can start to trust the things ahead, way ahead, where you don't know what's coming. What do you hear in that? Is that something you've heard before? And are you already doing it right now? Like, wow, okay, here I am today. And I even have some goals today about my finances. I have some body and health goals. I have some personal growth goals. I do have some fun and rest and relaxation goals. And I do have family goals. See if you can bring those just to today. Like, wow, between now and the end of the day today, What do I have time to address? Which goals come to mind that you have time to address today? And which ones can you say, I can't address today. I'm going to leave them over there and pick them up tomorrow when I have time for them. Does anybody have any ideas? So by having strategies to flip your focus, to become aware of like, wow, I'm stressed. I'm feeling these feelings, and these feelings are saying my focus is getting too far off from what's helpful to me. And I can always talk myself back down. That's the kind of self-coaching that's really powerful, that can help you when you're starting to build on your stress. The problem is, usually when we're stressed, we start getting into overwhelm and start thinking, I have too much to do. And the idea of slowing down and stopping what I'm doing long enough to talk myself down is counterintuitive. But do it anyway. So let's try it again and just take a breath. Now, your breath is one of the best things that you can control. When we get stressed, what we do is we stop breathing and our energy field actually shrinks tight around us. And when it starts shrinking tight around us, now all of the wisdom of everything else I have in my life starts shrinking down, and I get focused on the problem instead of the solution. And then when it's there, it's like all I can see. And then I'm doing and doing and doing, but I'm not as effective as I could be if I just breathed, took some breaths, calm myself down. This is normal human stuff. We get stressed for one reason. We care. We really care about something, and I'm not focused on what that is. I'm focused on that it's not showing up yet, or I'm focused on I can't do it. I'm scared. So what I'd like you to do is just take another deep breath and then play with your focus. Let's focus right now on what's working. What did you do today that was already a good job? Who can find something? Awesome. So when I already did a good job, and then you think about what you'd like to do more, it's easier to get calm and address the problems right in front of you. So just simply taking a breath and doing that. Secondly, good. I think for me to relieve stress is to do something I like that will keep me busy. I had a very good chat with a coworker for ideas for our program. Awesome. Great idea. Thank you for sharing that. Do something I like that will keep me busy. What I know to be true is our thoughts have momentum. And so when I'm in a stress thought pattern and I put all my focus on that, I'm going to add more and more stress thoughts. Our thoughts are like magnets and they build. And that's when we get into anxiety, because thoughts can build further and further. And then what happens next is I start thinking, oh no, I have to get rid of this feeling. Oh no, here's anxiety. I don't want anxiety. And I'm piling up more and more I don't want thoughts into my focus. And it's going to get bigger and bigger. And the emotions are going to get louder and louder, because those emotions are saying, once again, psst, get your focus off of those thoughts. So I'm going to come right back down here and talk about the 4 things that you can control. I've already shared a little bit about what they are. You might have heard one of them is a nice deep breath. You can control your breath. Sometimes automatically we'll have slower breath. If you're running, your breath will get bigger. But in a normal situation, you can control your breath and choose to take deep breaths. And what that'll do is it'll help bring your focus off of the things that are problems outside of you and bring your focus back inside to what's going on inside you. You can control your focus. You cannot control thoughts, and you cannot control feelings. Let's play with that a little bit. Thoughts sometimes just pop in. like, like random thoughts. Do you ever have a thought pop in? You're like, where did that come from? And it's like, whoa, that's normal. And it's okay. I can't control my thought, but I can control how I'm going to respond to my thought. 4 things: I can control my breath, my focus, my imagination, and my response. So an important thing is I can't control thoughts and I can't control feelings, but I can control my response to my feelings and I can control my response to my thoughts. And the most important thing to respond to anything going on inside of you is, this is okay. I'm normal. It's okay to be thinking this. It's okay to be feeling this. It's okay to be experiencing this, even if I hate it. Even if I'm not proud of it, even if it's not my best self. It's okay to have made horrible mistakes. It's okay to be human. And when we start to respond to ourselves with love and acceptance, then it makes it easier to continue to breathe, notice what I'm focusing on, and start to shift my focus. And once I get my focus going on, like, what solution do I want? What would I rather be thinking, feeling, and experiencing next? It starts getting bigger and bigger. And then you can kick in your imagination. Wow, what if that did happen? What if it did happen that I graduated, I had an awesome ceremony, and I was surrounded by people I loved, and I had a job I was really looking forward to starting? What if when I graduated, I had a job that I felt pretty confident with, and I knew I'd learn a lot, but I felt confident that I could learn, and I felt confident that I could contribute, and I felt confident that there was an environment that was going to support me in developing my gifts? Wow, what if I had that? Now I've controlled my imagination and I've built what I like to call a clear inner focus. When you do that, what happens is this. You can be here in the I am, I can, I know, I have, and you've got a good idea, even though you don't know the form of what you want, you know the essence. I want it to be a job I like. I want it to be a job where I can show up. It's manageable. Everyone's going to have different words within what you want, but you can build it in a general form. So you're here in a I am, I can, I know, I have, and I have a pretty good idea of what I'd like next. So I'm just going to take the next step in front of me. And what ends up happening is when the going gets rough and you go over here and you bump against something like, oh no, I've got a lot to do. I've got this test. It's really hard. I don't know what's going to be on it. And I don't know if I'm going to pass it. And I'm actually a little worried I'm not going to. But even if I don't pass that test, I know what I want and I know where I'm going. And I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I want to be going to a place where I have a job that I enjoy, that I actually make it to graduation, even if I don't pass that test. And you can balance then those scary thoughts with the big picture goal that you've built down here. Is that making sense? So what I'd like you to do is just take a breath and think about that big picture goal. Like 6 months from now, what would you like to be experiencing in a magical world? You don't have to know the how-tos. Remember, we're just planting the seed on those goals ahead, setting our life GPS there, and then coming back here and taking the next step that we're inspired to take and trusting that it's going to lead us there. Gently breathe and just play with your imagination and see if you can paint that picture inside. Maybe look at what would you like it to look like a year from now with your finances. What would you like it to feel like? use that magical what if. Don't have to know how, but this is what I want. This is what it would look like. What would I like to be saying about myself? And what would I like to be saying about other people and hearing other people say about me? What ends up happening when you do that is you're actually taking that beautiful picture inside and planting the seed of it on the road ahead of you. It takes your conscious mind and your subconscious mind and helps them work together to go in that direction. Maybe just for tomorrow, maybe for the next day, but it keeps you grounded in your body and taking those steps. Left unchecked, we can end up over here. Oh no, what if I don't want, I don't have. And not only does it make your conscious mind and your subconscious mind kind of get pointed in that direction, it also sort of leads you to that experience on the road ahead. And it's okay. Because even then you can get back on track. And guess what? You're doing it all the time. Look at the successes you've already had. Can you think of a success that you've already had? Like getting into college or getting the job at the Salt River Indian Community Fatherhood. Think of the successes you've already had. And what was your part in achieving them? Remember when you didn't know and then you did and you took little steps and shopped around in the world? Do you remember pieces along the way where you showed up and you weren't sure? And then you developed yourself into certainty? Is that making sense? So you can control 4 things. When the going gets rough, the tough get going, and who wants to be tough and make more toughness in the world? When the going gets rough, the wise stop and create solutions by breathing. Coming back here, noticing what am I thinking, what am I feeling, and saying whatever I'm thinking and feeling is normal. It's okay to be feeling this. It's because I really care about something and I'm just not focused on what I care about. I'm focused on that it's not here yet. So I'm taking another couple breaths and notice what it is that I'm stressed about and what solution would I like to see in the world somewhere out there. I don't know how to get there, but what is it I want? And then getting clear on what it is. And here's the next best step. What you do then is you ask your own heart, what's one step I can take in the direction of that? And then you take it. You know what human nature typically, I see people writing and thinking, so I'm going to be quiet a little bit because the most important thing is whatever you're hearing for yourself. So sometimes stress and anxiety becomes the norm, and it's really hard to get out of it. And here's why. One of them is the opposite of some of the things I've been talking about. The going gets rough, we hold our breath, and we're not even aware of it. The going gets rough, we use our focus and start picking at the problem and dissecting the problem and then responding with what's wrong with me. And then, oh no, what if? What if I feel more and more? What if this overwhelm doesn't go away? Oh no, what if I can't sleep tonight? And just add more and more to it with our focus. We don't control our focus in a powerful way. We don't control our imagination and let the scary what if run away with us. And it becomes a habit of responding within ourselves that is just a automatic habit. Okay, I'm mad. I'm going to ignore it. No, I'm mad. I'm going to look at what's bothering me and I'm going to find a solution and I'm going to take care of the solution. Okay, I don't like what I see. I'm eating more than I like and I'm not proud of it. And I'm really frustrated and I'm kind of ashamed of myself. Okay, I'm going to look at that and go, wait, what am I thinking and feeling? What's going on here? What do I need to do? What do I want? Oh, I'm just feeling really nervous about that test. And I'm eating a lot because I'm overwhelmed. And what I really need to do is just what we have over here. Do something. What did, when I feel stressed, I do something I really like that will keep me busy and calm me down. And then I can go back and address the problem. So when it gets there, we have a habit going on inside of ourselves of responding in a way that's not so beneficial, and it just takes a little bit of time. And then we have mindsets. So like every time I think of, and I know a lot of people get to the point of every time I think of driving in a car, I get anxiety. I feel anxious. Anxiety, when it really gets running it muck, is because we have mindsets and our thoughts are all locked in. Anxiety is there when I have locked in my mindset and my emotions, thoughts of, oh no, what if I do something that's going to hurt myself physically, financially, spiritually, or in my relationships? It's going to hurt me. It's going to completely annihilate the things I want. It's going to take away all my money. It's going to take away all my friends. It's going to take away my ability. It's going to kill me. It's going to kill someone else. What if I do something that hurts myself? Or what if I do something that hurts someone else? That's anxiety. It's just my focus got so far off that I think the world's going to, like, I'm going to just completely not be okay because I did something. And so what I do and help clients with when I'm working with them is I help them look at their pattern of thoughts. When I think the thought, music, like even I think about my little disc here where I play my music, my home, I don't even know what it's called, Amazon Home or Google Home or whatever. I think Pandora or Spotify, just like that, automatically. So when we have triggers like that, when we have big anxiety that we go into like that, it's just because I got a lot of thoughts locked in together on a topic. And you can use the 4 things that you can control to unlock that thought pattern and build a new one. And then practice the new one. You can do this when something really rough happens. Like I was working with a college student one time, and she had a boyfriend that she really liked, and she was on a spring break trip to Italy, and she found a picture of him on social media where he was out partying with a bunch of girls, and she did the, oh no, what if? And it was ruining her complete trip, and she couldn't shake the thought. So what I had her do was what I use with my clients, and that is, I call it the clear inner focus table. And what it is you just simply write down all of the stress thoughts. You actually give some attention to your attention and don't judge your thoughts. What is it I don't want to be thinking, feeling, or experiencing? Take a deep breath. You come in, you respond to yourself with love. Okay, this is really freaky inside. I don't like what's going on. It feels horrible, and it's okay to be here. It's because I'm a powerful focuser and I really care about something, and I am focused on that it might not happen. So what's bothering me? So we did the what ifs. What if he's with other girls? What if I'll never, I break up with him? What if I have to start all over again? And write down all of the thoughts. Because when you write them down, you slow them down. When you write them down, you take the power out of it, because now I can look at it and respond without so much fear, without judging myself and thinking the thought, oh no, what if I have to start all over again with a new boyfriend? Oh, and then start judging myself. Oh, you always, like this can make a bunch of thoughts start coming in. But when you write them down, you slow them down. Remember, you're using the 4 things you can control. You're breathing. You're responding to yourself with love and acceptance. This is normal human stuff. Then you do something else. You become curious and name the feeling. And write the name of the feeling down. Chances are you start off saying it's anxious, but it's really scared. It could be petrified. It could be alone. It could be inadequate. It doesn't matter. All of these feelings are wonderful feelings. Let's get to know them. When you name them, you tame them. It breaks apart the bond that holds all of these thoughts running together in your body. And it will help those feelings rain through your body. It helps these thoughts compost and leave and dissipate. Because once they do, new things can grow. Once they do, I have access to new thoughts that I can focus on. Wait a minute. What would I rather be thinking than he's partying with a bunch of girls and we're going to break up? What would I rather be thinking? I'd rather be thinking I'm in Italy and I'm enjoying my friends. And when I get back, my life's going to be fine. And then when you write that down, it starts to solidify that thought. It starts to make your thought line with your heart and soul's desires. And it lets that grounded energy move through you. That more confident energy move through you. But what ends up happening too is thought by thought, when you flip your focus, it most likely has nothing to do about him. Or even if it does. Okay, thank you for that question. I'll get to that in a second. So even if it does, you can get this clear focus about what you want. Sometimes when people first start doing this and I work with them, they'll say, what do you want? Well, I want him to not be partying with all those girls and I want him to not be posting all those pictures. No, what do you want? I want to see pictures of him, having fun with his friends and the girls to just look like normal girls and they're not hanging on them. That's what I want. I can't control it, but at least I know what I want. Is this making sense so far? Because we get so focused on the, I don't want that, that's all I can see. And then it gets stuck there. So once you build this full picture here, and then you say, if that was happening, how would I feel? It anchors in this new mindset. And then you say, what's one step I can take in that direction? Because could you imagine if she got really clear and then she just called and said, hey, how's it going? And she could listen and hear what he was saying and then determine from then whether it's a problem or not. But what if she called him when she was all activated over here? Can you imagine what would have happened? So that's the process. It's just writing it on a piece of paper. I don't want to be thinking, feeling, experiencing this, naming the thoughts, naming the feelings, breathing, loving yourself, accepting them, letting yourself know it's normal human stuff, and breathing and getting to know the feeling. And guess what? It's not going to feel good. Usually when you first start doing this, that anxiousness gets bigger and it moves through your body, but you're breathing and you're not scared of it. And it dissipates quickly. But it might go from like an 8 to a 10 and then releases. So you can start building this, get anchored in it, and then take a step. What's one step I can take in this direction of my clear inner focus of what I really want when my heart and soul is asking for me to move forward? And then you take a baby step and repeat. So when things are going on for a long time, sometimes I reread this. My husband and I actually split up for a while. there was a lot of stuff going on that we were stuck in over here, and there was a lot of that conflict going on. And so every day I read what I wanted in my perfect partner on this side. And I made sure I was that perfect partner for myself. And I made sure I believe in God, and I was good. I want the universe, I want God to be working with me, and I'm going to be a partner this way. And sure enough, things transformed in our relationship. And this has been a tool that's helped throughout the last 12 years that we've been back together. So the question is, what about trauma? Trauma is the same thing. We get it stuck in our body. Something happened, and we get all of those emotions and those thoughts stuck in our body. And then it's sitting here, and I can live around it. Oh no, I can live around it. But it's still, when I touch it, it's like an inner landmine. I wrote a book. It's called Flip Your Focus. It talks about these tools. It talks about the inner landmines. And when you touch it, it's like, it just goes off within you, and a reaction is going to happen. I can't control a reaction because it's already been an activated thought that's just, filled with so much emotion. But I can control how I respond to my reaction. And when I respond again by taking a breath and going, holy crap, this is hard. I just showed up and I didn't like what I did. Now, what was going on for me? What was I thinking? What was I feeling? Why did that happen? And what would I rather be thinking, feeling, and experiencing in the future? And start building this and taking steps in that direction. You can dissipate a lot of reactive behavior over time. Someone says, I can't stay for the whole session and have to leave now, but thank you. Thank you for being here. Definitely some great things to think about and use in my everyday life. Thank you for being here, Shay, and letting me know where you're going. I would like to learn, is anxiety about the same as trauma, or how are they related? So trauma is when emotions get stuck in the mindset, and they can stay in an anxiety all the time, low grade anxiety, or sometimes trauma can get stuffed and then it bumps it out. But when I am constantly running this, and I haven't, these emotions are here and I haven't addressed them and I haven't moved them through my body, I haven't looked at what I learned from that experience, haven't forgiven myself for what I didn't know that got me in that situation, and forgiven those other people for whatever they didn't know that caused them to do whatever they did, it's going to be active, and it can dissipate through this very process. I don't know if that helps. I'm very much simplifying it, but over time, again, we can change our neural pathways so that we don't have to go into that reactivity. We don't have to go into that trauma. We don't have to live with that noise that's going on. And when noise comes up in present day, you can develop better neural pathways so that you come back to home sooner. It doesn't mean you're going to live without stress. It doesn't mean that it's not going to, that life isn't going to be hard. It's just going to mean you have some tools when it is hard to, first of all, know it's normal sometimes. It's going to be hard sometimes. And I've got this, and I'm going to get through it. And sun shines and beautiful thing grows after huge inside thunderstorms. And that's okay, because I've got this. So what are your tips on truly forgiving yourself for mistakes you made in the past? Great question. So I have two tools that I work with people. So when I need to forgive myself, I'll give you a real life example about all of the above. I grew up in a family of 8. I was child number 6. The first 6 of us were like a pack, and we were all like between 9 months and 18 months apart. And then the last 2 were 4 years younger than me, and they were 18 months apart too. And they just really bonded. So it's like kind of like the 6 of us against those 2. And in the pack of 6, mom and dad would be gone, and you didn't want to get tripped up and be the one on the outside. So what ended up happening one time is my younger brother my mom and dad were gone, and we were home alone, and we were tormenting my younger brother. And we gave him some sort of really bizarre concoction of weird things to drink. And I don't know what it was. And one of my siblings was hiding in a closet, and he was making noises. And my brother would say, what's that noise? And we're like, what noise? We don't hear it. And then they'd make the noise again. What noise? We don't hear it. And then he'd be like, oh no. And then we told him he was drunk. He's this little kid and we're just like tormenting him. And it was horrible. And I didn't want to be a part of it, but I didn't know how to stand up against it. And so he had a lot of problems. And whenever I'd see him, I always had this little guilt that I was looking through. Like he's not completely, he was going through lots of challenges. And I'd be like, he's going through lots of challenges because I was a bad sister too. I was part of that. And I saw it through a lot of guilt. And so what I did is I did the process of, one of them is like, what did I not know back then? And I looked at it. I didn't know back then how to stand up for myself. I didn't know back then when there was a big group of people, if I didn't like what they were doing and if they were bigger than me and I couldn't stand up to them, because really I couldn't, I could have simply at least left the group and not been part of it. And it would have been better to be on my own than to be a part of something I didn't want to be in. And I didn't know that back then. So once I sat down and let myself see, what did I not know back then that I know today and I do differently today? I could breathe and forgive myself. I could feel like, oh, and then what happened next is I continued and I realized that kids get in bully dynamics. They just do. And I was really grateful to him for being in that dynamic for me and teaching me what I learned from it. Because I realized ever since then, I think I have been the opposite of a bully. I mean, I learned it and I became a better person because of it. And once I did that and I forgave myself for my part in it, I saw him differently. And he started showing up differently to me. It changed my relationship with him in a wonderful way. And he has no idea that I did all that. He has no idea I was carrying it around with me. But that was the trauma, my trauma of being someone I didn't want to be, that was sitting there and I was living around it and I was seeing my life through that. But that simple process, again, of just coming back here, breathing and loving and accepting myself, even though I showed up in the world in ways I am not proud of. And now I don't feel guilty about it. I feel like that's just part of what kids do. And it's not the best, but I learned and grew from it. Does that answer your question? Would that be helpful? In Flip Your Focus, the website Flip Your Focus, there's a place that says tools. And I have that as one of the tools of just writing down on a sheet, what was going on there, what was, where was I not in self-care, and some self-reflective questions to look at that so you can start to forgive. A cool thing about forgiving is when you breathe and forgive, it's actually an energy that can wash over. I feel like it rinses the stuff I've been holding on to. So I'd like you to just breathe and just wait a minute. If I'm holding myself guilty for things I've done in the past that were wrong, I'm going to give my tension some attention. And I'm going to forgive myself for what I didn't know. And I might not be able to do it all right now, but I am going to. And I'm going to see what I learned from it, so I can be more of it in the world. And for the people that were involved, they had something to learn too. There were things they didn't know back then that they had to learn too. And you were one of the little souls there to help them too in time. Just come back to you and I love myself and I'm going to forgive myself so I can be the better me from what I learned. maybe, just maybe, our passion and our soul's purpose comes from living the contrast. Like, how can I really know hot unless I know cold? How can I really know how to be strong and take a stand and take care of myself and not be a part of a group that I don't want to be a part of unless I experience being a part of a group I didn't want to be a part of and getting myself into something I couldn't get out of? I mean, that's where we really know at an experiential level. So take a breath and listen to your heart. You do have your answers. You do have wisdom, and you are guiding yourself. You guided yourself to this webinar. A lot of people had the opportunity. They didn't. You did. You are leading yourself. You're asking questions and you're following a path to answers. Good job. So what are you hearing today, right here, right now, that you'd like to take away with you and play with as you finish school and as you work in your career and as you learn about your own stress and anxiety and how you can navigate it so that you can come out powerfully and lead the changes you're here to lead? Do you hear something that's kind of calling to you, like something you might want to play with this week or do more of this week? And so I invite you to share the takeaway, or sometimes when you're learning something new, to treasure it and not tell anyone and just keep it your own little secret is a beautiful thing to do too. A participant shared, I can focus on taking one step to make myself feel better. I don't have to know the whole staircase. I just have to take one step. Yeah, cool. And how that key takeaway came, like feel that feeling of like, oh, that's some cool guidance. That's where I can go to get my guidance to guide me. You know that feeling? Another thing that's really cool is you can always say, like, who do I want to be in this step? Because it's not really just about getting everything done. Our fulfillment, our juice of life comes through us when it's like, okay, I have this step I have to take. And so in this step, I want to either be efficient, or I want to be smart, or I want to be kind, or I want to be lazy. But once you know who you want to be, it helps to get you out of the overwhelmed mind and get you more grounded too. Thanks for sharing that takeaway. I think when someone gives you praise, it also helps relieve stress. It helps it helps that you do get noticed on a positive way. Yes. And that's awesome. So the gift of acknowledging another person is so valuable. So to be able to say, wow, I do want to acknowledge all three of you for being here, even the fourth person who came here with as much as she could and left even then and let me know she was leaving. I want to acknowledge each of you for carving out this time. That's a fabulous way of really navigating and practicing self-care. That is what shows that you love yourself. And because you did that, I got to be here to share. So it made a difference for me. But a lot of times you can't make someone else give you praise, but you can give it to yourself. It's important. Stop. What am I doing that's right? Good job, Patty. Because then it starts moving through you and it makes it easier for other people to add on to it. So when you give it to yourself first, whatever it is, it makes it easier for others to give. When, I'm really feeling crappy about myself, I can't even find anything I'm doing right now. I'm going to look around and find someone else doing something right. Because when I focus on it in them, it'll start to expand it in me. So what we do at Clear Inner Focus, if you're interested in coaching, what we do is we work with people one-on-one and we help them develop new habits of responding and help them gain the momentum of forward movement during transition. We give tools, we help people show up differently. What ends up happening after a week of coaching is they end with an intention, something, a takeaway. And then we come back and how did it go? And more often than not, people say, oh, I never did it. And then we'll talk and we'll start to see where the growth is naturally happening because our eyes forget to tune to where the growth is. And so it just helps people develop these new habits of coaching themselves and calming down. So if you or anyone you know is interested in coaching, it's just a fabulous way to build some really cool life skills in a life toolbox for roads ahead. And if not, there's the book, Flip Your Focus. If you want to know more, I go more into these strategies. I have a great tool called a Healthy Boundaries tool. And I also have a really cool tool called a To Thrive list, where you write down, here's my to-do list, and here's what I'm going to be in each of those things I'm going to do. And then in the last column, here's the ta-da. Help I'd like from the universe that I can't control. And it helps me let go of those things. So those are some of the things in the book, Flip Your Focus, which is available on Amazon. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And in the description box below, you'll find links to all of the resources that I mentioned during this video, including a downloadable copy of the Clear Inner Focus table.